So I've really been wanting to get into some World War II history, and I've been listening to the radio broadcast vault a lot at work. And as I do my work, I listen to it just like the radio. This guy, he puts on shows as they played all through the World War II years, day by day, on the days they actually played. But so I was going through my magazines, and I came across this one, January 6th, 1941. So World War II was happening, but the America had not entered the war until, well, December 7th is when that would happen, which is almost 11 months to the day from this issue right here. This 10-cent copy of Life magazine with Katharine Hepburn on the cover. And let's just show you the back. There's an ad for Lucky Strikes. You see the green package? Well, during World War II, Lucky Strike actually dropped the green dye, and so the green dye could go to uniforms, and they called it Lucky Strike Goes to War, and that's where we get the white pack. Tobacco's my bread and butter, says Connor Acock, tobacco warehouse owner of Durham, North Carolina. I have to know good leaf, that's why I smoke Lucky's, and he's holding a big tobacco leaf. And with men who know tobacco best, it's Lucky's 2-1. Let's open this magazine up. On the inside cover, it pays to fly. There and back in time for dinner. It's an ad for Air Transport System Association. So it's not an airline or even an airplane company. It's just general ad for air travel in general. Fussy, oh dear, yes, and my stomach extremely so. That's kind of an interesting poodle with a bow in its hair. Pard, Swift & Company's nutritionally balanced dog food. And we got letters to the editor and an ad for Bell Telephone right here. Said the electrical mouth to the electrical ear. Here we have Pequot, super service and per kale sheets. I feel like I don't know English reading this. We'll mind our P's and Q's. We'll buy our Pequots. Join the parade to white sails. It's I guess it's bedclothes. Again, Chevrolet is the leader. Okay, as you know, this is my favorite part of these old magazines right here, are the old car ads. I love these. Absolutely love them. Buy it, try it, buy it. An ad marketed to women in 1941. It's a Chevrolet, a beautifully done black and white Chevrolet ad. Oh, just look at that. On the other side, Vermont made syrup. That just looks good. Coming mother, did you say waffles and Vermont made syrup? So it's also winter time. This will give you an idea of how young we feel. What is this for? California prunes. I get it. Okay. Okay. Life support. Paris plagues its conquerors. This is referring to Germany. And it's sort of talking about how is Paris holding up now that it's been overrun by Nazi Germany at that time. Got some coffee there. Just imagine, in the news, reading, knowing that Europe was being run over, country after country, and we're getting reports like this, and here we are sitting in America, tense, wondering, when are we going to get caught up in this? That's what everyone must have been feeling, reading an article like that. Where there's pep, there's iron. Bosco chocolate sauce. Another cool looking ad. Speaking of pictures, These show Joseph Hoffman's hands at work, and Life was good at doing neat picture layouts like this. And it shows this pianist, Joseph Hoffman, and how his hands are on the piano keys. It's white sale time save on Utica sheets. Another doggone ad for sheets. Was it because it was winter? And it's for Mrs. Thrifty's consumer. And they're projecting ahead to January 1951. She checks over her linen closet, beams with satisfaction over the fact that Utica sheets she bought 10 years ago are still smooth, soft, and snowy white. Counts up how many dollars Utica sheets have probably saved. Okay, and here we got more of this piano pictures. Husbands don't talk about it, but you can't afford to risk it. You know what we're talking about here? Bad breath. Wow. She's beaming and blissfully ignorant to the fact that her breath is bad. But she has an option here, Colgate. So if she goes to her dentist and consults with him, he says tests show that 76% of all people over the age of 17 have bad breath. That's why dentists recommend Colgate dental cream. It'll solve all of her problems, and her husband will love her again. Lavender's lovely. Yardley English lavender. I don't know if they still make this soap, but I remember it clearly as a child. It was green. It was like back in the dark ages when I was a kid. There were not 60,000 different soaps at the store, and there wasn't the body gel and all that stuff either. You bought bar soap, and you picked which bar soap you wanted. It was Irish Spring or Coast or Zest or whatever. But Yardley of London was like, the only thing nicer than that was like either the soaps you bought at specialty stores or that clear soap you could see through. But Yardley of London was like the Cadillac of soap. That's what you had in your shower if you wanted to impress people. Okay? Alright. Swift's Brookfield Pure Pork Sausage. You know what? Just seeing this ad makes me think breakfast for dinner tonight. Put some sausage in the pan, some eggs. That actually sounds so good. I like breakfast for dinner. I really do. Hurry up, it's Swiss Brookfield sausage for supper. They're thinking the same thing. See, why does it have to be just for breakfast? I think it tastes better at dinner time. Cannon hosiery. And, you know, as we know, in World War II, when rationing kicked in, hose for women was a luxury item. Here's a little bit about the cover, and Katharine Hepburn. The Philadelphia story was coming out, and she was taking Hollywood by storm. Modern woman, independent woman. That was something that would really kick in pretty soon because women were going to work in the factories. Rosie the Riveter. This was a time when America counted on women, and women stepped up to the challenge. So, you know, this is when Katharine Hepburn stood out. So it's interesting that we sort of regressed again in the 50s, but in the 40s, you know, we had the idea of the strong, independent woman was the welcome thing. It was the needed thing then. So it is interesting how things change. How's your pep appeal? Here's an ad for cereal, Kellogg's Pep. I don't think they make it anymore. America says thumbs up. The Roman people held the power of life and death over a combatant in the Colosseum. It was thumbs up or thumbs down. The American people hold the power of life and death over a product or business, and with the American people, it's thumbs up for quality. Mimeograph duplicator. Mimeograph is the predecessor to Xerox. I remember mimeographs too as a kid. And correct me if I'm wrong, someone's older than me, but if I recall when I was in school, when we had those purple copies of our worksheets and stuff, I think that was mimeograph. U.S. balls, bras, pageants, parades turn war relief into show business. Okay, this is interesting section here. Incidentally, how I got this magazine, my grandma was in the hospital and she had to stay for a few days. So I bought her this magazine to read, and she really appreciated it. So, because it was, you know, like when she was in her 20s. So, or early 30s. So it would just kind of brought back memories. And then I've got it back. And this is talking about all kinds of March of Freedom, the Greek Relief Fund, show business. This is an interesting picture. This is Gypsy Rose Lee, the original Gypsy Rose. I know you've all heard of Gypsy Rose Blanchard, but the Gypsy Rose Lee, Gypsy Rose Blanchard was named after a Guns N' Roses song, which was inspired by her, Gypsy Rose Lee. She was the original stripper, the original burlesque girl. If you take a close look at this picture, and I just want to point something out. This is the days before Photoshop. The only way they could run this picture is if they actually did, in fact, Photoshop stars. Well, not Photoshop. They actually probably carefully cut out and placed stars on certain parts of her so this picture would be suitable for run in 1941, because all these stars were not really there. It's interesting, a little bit of photographic trickery to make what would have been an R-rated photograph into a PG-rated photograph. Life on the news fronts of the world. Plans for risking war stir the nation. German troops play hide and seek over Europe. Gambling lady scuttles anonymously from New York joint following police raid. Yeah. The roaring 20s are over, and now we're in the law-abiding 40s. The fighting Greeks get British men and guns and Italian prisoners. And this is praise for the Greeks in the early days of World War II. America's ambassador to Vichy sails to his post on a cruiser. Vichy, as you know, was the part of France that collaborated with the Germans. Free France was the other side, the Victor Laszlo's. Pat and the parson help guarantee that there'll always be in England. Pat Kirkwood, inescapable as sheet lightning, specializes in My Heart Belongs to Daddy, Oh Johnny, and the Nightingale sang in Berkeley Square to her English music hall audiences. So this is moral support for England. Nightingale sang in Berkeley Square is one of my favorite old-time songs. True to her fans, Pat Kirkwood here visits Oxford University's stone paneling and creates an effect somewhat similar to that of fictional beauty Zuleika Dobson on the same premises. And we're seeing some of the bombing damage from England. Fall of Simpson hints a move by GOP pros to oust Wilkeets. I'm having a hard time pronouncing that name. A party soup comes home to stay. That's right. Cream of mushroom soup in 1941 is a party soup. But it tells you all the things you can do with it for your wild night. I think when we think of cream of mushroom soup now, we don't even think of a soup. We think of a cooking ingredient. I've lost my heart to spinach, bird's eye, and it's sliced boiled egg over spinach with paprika on top, served with corn. That looks pretty good. The Philadelphia Story, the play that was Hepburn's stage hit, now makes movie money for her. And if you haven't watched the Philadelphia Story, if you want to see the quintessential Kate Hepburn, that's the movie you need to watch. This is the movie, in my opinion, that sums her up. This is the movie that put her on the map and sealed that character forever, along with Jimmy Stewart and Cary Grant. But she upstaged both of them, and that's what the amazing thing about the movie was. So, some people would argue with me on that, but I think that was her best movie. But I also liked, the one with Cary Grant, and they had the pet tiger, Bringing Up Baby. I think I liked that one too. I haven't seen it since I was a kid. In Our Face, Red with Pleasure, Statler Hotels. Nothing old-fashioned but the hospitality. I like the old hotel ads because they, before television and so forth, they had to lure you with other things in the hotels. So a good meal and a well-equipped bathroom, a radio, or other things were ice, access to ice and ice water were things that were selling points. Terry and the Pirates Invade New York Gallery. Terry and the Pirates was a radio show and a comic. Woodbury face powder. Full color ad. Bring out that lovelier you, says Hollywood, with a powder shade that matches your true skin type. Myrna Loy, now co-starred with William Powell in the MGM picture Mr. Coed, is portrayed here by Ronaldo Luza. Here's an ad for log cabin syrup, and I really love this ad. It's colorful, it's in full color, and it looks tasty, and you see the old packaging. Here's a story with old-fashioned flavor, a 4-star hit in modern favor. And it shows like then and now with the syrup and the waffles. Here are, these are props for sketching. This is Caniff Studio, atop his home in Pomona, New York. Caniff works here every day from noon until midnight. Completes cartoons 9 weeks before publication. He sketches with his left hand, writes with his right hand. His secretary, Adelaide Gilchrist. He dictates fan mail. Assistant Frank Ingley transfers Caniff's color to Sunday cartoons. I guess he was the one who wrote Terry and the Pirates. So, and he needed all these as props, which is very interesting. So if you listen to that radio program, if you read the comic, that would have been an article you'd want to read. What do you know about sheets? Study these questions and answers before you go to buy sheets in the January white sales. Here we go with the sheets again. It must have been the white sales thing. That's what it is. It's January white sales, so I need to lay off Canon sheets. Sheets, in the days before the internet and everything, white sales, that's when you bought your sheets. Cats. These beauties delight Alurophiles. Is that the name for cat lovers? Aerophiles? I cannot pronounce that, but this is a really cute article. Kittens and puppies, cats in 1941. Beautiful cats in full color. You probably can guess that I'm a huge cat person. I have 2 cats, and I love these pictures. Of course, my cats are my #1 favorites. These are all long hairs, and I have two short hair tabbies that I adopted from the cat shelter, and they were wormy and sick, and we fixed them up, and now they're healthy and strong, and love those 2. But I really love that picture right here. It's very dramatic. He looks like a little Orson Welles cat. It's like the sinister cat, the friendly cat. I just love these pictures. Here is an ad for Second Chorus with Fred Astaire and Paulette Goddard. Good Paulette Goddard fan here. And it even shows you a dance step in the ad, which is very cool. Look at that. See? Fred's best yet because he's got Paulette. With Artie Shaw, Charles Butterworth, Burgess Meredith, Rocky's trainer. I do like this ad here. Why you should start young fingers thinking early. Well, here we go with the typewriters again. Swigert system corrects posture by rest. What? That's gonna correct your posture? If you say so. Have you been snapping at people? Southern California Winter Sun Festival. Okay, so if you get tired of the cold weather in Chicago or in wherever you live, come out to California during the winter time and play golf. But it is a beautiful full color page. Another full color ad for Calvert, and a pretty watercolor of a fox here. And Calvert's protective blending protects the flavor and good taste of Calvert whiskey. Left. Here you can see what nature's protective blending does to protect the red fox. So easily does he elude the hunter's searching eyes that dogs must be used to track him down. Out in the open, however, the red fox could easily be taken even with bow and arrow, but this wily creature is too smart to be caught like this. He takes advantage of nature's protective blending, and somehow they have managed to twist that around to talk about whiskey, but that's still you know what, the artwork makes up for the silliness of how they tried to take nature's protective blending into, let's blend some Calvert's whiskey. The Hemingways in Sun Valley. The novelist takes a wife. This is Hemingway still alive. Great writer, tortured man, adventurous man, self-destructive, but nonetheless full of emotion and full of a brain full of action and an ability to transfer that to the paper that few people can do. Life documents his new novel with war shots. This, for whom the bell tolls. Yes, life is actually taking pictures for whom the bell tolls. And this is, goodness gracious, this is about the war in Spain that preceded World War II and sort of blended into it. When Franco was if you had Hitler and Mussolini, Franco would probably be number 3 in Europe, at least, not counting Asia. But this shows characters, the American volunteer, the old guide, the young girl, the guerrilla leader, peasant soldiers. So very interesting. If you're a Hemingway reader, this is an article you might want to look into with these photographs that would help. If you're reading the book, it would help take Hemingway's ideas and put them into pictures for you here. There was a picture of the Spanish Civil War. Was it by Capa? Is that right? The photographer of the soldier who was shot, but then they later on determined it was fake. It was staged. Robert Capa, I want to say. In Rio, coarse girls of U.S. find the gay glamorous life in Brazil. Oh, yeah. Christ the Redeemer. One of these days I need to go to Rio. I want to see it for myself. The Case for France. A famous writer answers American grievances against his country, by Andre Moreau. Marshal Pétain is a symbol of France to millions of Frenchmen who may disagree over policies but respect the old soldier. Here he inspects a school in presence of local officials. Yeah. I'm not sure if this article aged very well, considering who ended up winning. It's almost like at this point we'd sort of resigned that this is the way things were going to be. Tea peps you up. Delicious, vitalizing, economical tea costs less than a half a cent a cup. So it's an ad for tea. Pepperell, sheets, blankets, and towels. They merged with West Point. And it was West Point Pepperell. Then it became West Point Stevens. Prince Albert tobacco, Prince Albert in a can. You cannot find a thrift store in this country that does not have one of these for sale. In a world of strife, there's peace and beer. Oh my gosh, look at the guy. He's got his dog. Look at all the newspaper headlines. Cities bombed, air raids, invasion. He's nervous, but he's like, man, pour me a beer. So the world is going crazy. It's 1941. Dog's like, are you gonna play with this ball? And he's like, shut up. I'm drinking my beer. Hires root beer. Just right at night. No caffeine to keep you awake. See how they spelled caffeine back then? Sergeant's dog medicines. They make flea collars. Pierre Laval. Wasn't he executed? I believe he was. Yeah, the case. This article did not age. The Prudential Insurance Company. That's the Prudential Man. Government junk. U.S. salvages 20 million of it a year. And it shows different things. the government is salvaging or selling, I suppose, like an old G-Man car from old rubber stamps, buoys, Webster's dictionaries in 1919 World Atlas. Medicine balls. 1940, December 13th, Friday. Life goes to Friday the 13th party. Chicago Anti-Superstition Society explores and explodes old bogeys. They see what they're doing there. They're tempting fate by doing everything. They're eating cookies that say 13. They're lighting 3 cigarettes on 1 match. They're playing with black cats. Spilling salt. Philco radios and record players. Chapstick. Resinol. Women to make dresses for free. And it's more of the superstition club. They're walking under ladders, sitting in coffins. Fleischmann's fresh yeast. That's gross. Seriously, don't try that. Pictures to the editors. A milk spills and a lion drinks it. Oh, I love that old ad for Cool. I'm not a smoker, but I have to admit that's cute. Here's another full page ad for Baker's chocolate, and it's got a recipe for Ritz chocolate frosting and cake. I'll slowly scan over the recipe if you want to pause and write it down. If you want a 1940s recipe. And we have reached the end with that Lucky Strike ad. And with that, I'm going to say goodnight, and I hope you enjoyed the video. I will answer comments, and I appreciate them. Please give me a thumbs up or if you like the video, and please consider subscribing if you like what I do. And thank you very much. See you tomorrow.